Policy 2020, it talks about merit-based structure of tenure, promotion, and salary with multiple levels within each teacher stage. And I'm reading off the exact wording that incentivizes and recognizes outstanding teachers. So it is merit-based structure of tenure, promotion, and salary. This is the first time that I'm aware of where government document says that, very clearly, in a way that, I can understand, merit-based structure of tenure, promotion, and salary with multiple levels within each teacher stage that incentivizes and recognizes outstanding teachers. In other words, promotion is not just based on seniority, number of years that you've worked in the organization. And, at the moment, the teacher who's worked the retires or passes away, it's the one who's the most experienced, next most experienced teacher who becomes the head teacher. So instead of that, it needs to be based on promotion like that needs to be based on merit and on a performance appraisal. So I think that it is enshrined in the NEP. And let us hope, you see, even the National Education Policy in 1986, as revised in 1992, had very enlightened principles. So again, we have some really enlightened things. It's a fantastic policy now that we got in 2020. The real devil is in the implementation. So will it get implemented? Because we have to imagine what the impediments were that, hindered the implementation of the same similarly enlightened provisions of National Education Policy in 1986. And why that? Let's go back to the Kothari Commission, 1964. Many of its fantastic recommendations are still not implemented. So the point is that it's good that things, we have a time for reflection again. In 2020, we've reflected on it for past 4 years and the new education policies come forth. But we must think about what the impediments to implementation are and how we address those. So I think that is very, very important.
When we talk of the teacher assessment and look at what the UGC did, the UGC has now come up with a system where we are graded and appraisal is done for every single level of promotion. There's a much higher level for us for performance. So we have a CGPA and we have to have a certain number of points before we get promoted to a higher level. And a large number of teachers don't make it to professors, don't make it to other levels. Now that same process needs to be applied for teachers in the primary and the secondary sector. And I think when you have one overarching body, the statutes and the rules would perhaps be the same. Number one. Number two, it can happen in the government schools because in central schools, it is happening. You get promoted and you to become a principal, you take an examination, you have to clear a certain amount of, a certain level. So central schools are evaluating and they are assessing. And they have a system of appraisal where the student feedback is very important. So there's student feedback, there is your self-assessment. Even in higher education, there is student feedback. When NAAC comes to accreditation, there is student feedback. There is your own assessment of your own work that you've done. There is an assessment by your own head of department, your dean, and your vice chancellor. So the whole system, including the other stakeholders, have a right to be able to do this. But that needs to be strengthened. And when that is strengthened, then it will work. Now, another important thing for secondary and primary is, which needs to be kept in mind is, it can become applicable for government schools, but the maximum schools are in the private sector. What is the private sector school management going to accept? Are they going to accept the government norms? Are they going to applicate it to themselves? Are they going to promote their teachers that way? That becomes a little problematic. And how that can be negotiated while implementing it is something that, can be regulated through the accreditation process. If they don't have that system in place for promoting their teachers, for incentives for their teachers, then the accreditation could be withheld. So it's a complex kind of thing. It may take a little time, but I'm very confident it will come through and it will have to be done.
If you look at it in any progressive society, if you have to instill a healthy competition, then merit-based recognition is the only way forward. So that the best people get recognized, the best people get empowered, and that's how the society grows. Now, having said that, while the stakeholders' feedback is important, I would say that there has to be a more intelligent and metric-based evaluation considering the 360-degree requirement.
Feedback.
Yes, because there are multiple things that goes in with the responsibility of the teacher. It's not just about the intellectual feeding. It's not just about the enhancing their emotional intelligence, enhancing their creativity, their the entire 360 degree. And therefore, what's very important, as I mentioned earlier, that setting very clear goals for each teacher for the year ahead, and then trying to have very clear metrics in which the feedback will be one component, will definitely not be the entire thing that will depend, that will test the performance of the faculty or the teacher. So that's, but I would fully agree that merit-based performance recognition and appraisals is the key to instill a very healthy competitive environment.